Dave Ramsey has
Oh,
come out with a video that basically says if you are buying rental properties and you're a landlord and you are expecting your tenants to pay and all of these things, you're an idiot and a moron. That's not how the system works. Apparently, Dave Ramsey thinks all landlords are idiots. So this was a video that was sent around to the three amigos. Matt, you found it, you shared it. What is your takeaway? Because I got to tell you, I think my answer is going to surprise both of you, so I will hold mine for last. But you go ahead.
I was sadly polluted first by this short that I had to see of Dave Ramsey's. I was like, oh crap, now I gotta forward this to Dion. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think that obviously any business, right? Any business has its costs to it, and our customers buy the things from us, and we then pay our costs. So that's just general business principle. So I get both sides of it. I get where he's saying, well, it's fraught with risk. Then he says he owns over 2,000 units. I'd like to understand those 2,000 units and why and how he views them differently. I think with any part of that journey, and where I always go to immediately is there was a part of me in 07, 08 that thought he was exactly right. And that was because I went from 8 paying tenants to 3 paying tenants to 1 paying tenant when the Great Recession happened, right?
Yeah, that was
so he's right. So he's very right conceptually in that regard. That being said, that's why we diversify. And I think Ramsey would talk a lot about diversification of stock portfolio and insurance and all that good stuff, right? But I think that it's diversification, and that's where now I look at it more like Dion looks at it. Whereas people do pay my bill, they pay my mortgage, they do. The issue is that he's conflating issues. He's saying that they don't really work together. Of course they do. They're not islands. You have a mortgage, you get paid rents, that gets used to pay your mortgage. You're not paying money out of pocket. And recognizing it's a separate issue, that if your business is good or business is bad, he's conflating an issue of a good operator, learned by, oh shit, I'm a landlord, lumberjack landlord course, being a good operator versus not being a good operator, which is being like me in 07 when I had 8, then 3, then 1 paying tenant, because I was like, hey, construction's super hot. Everybody makes tons of money. I'm going to rent to nothing but construction people. That was stupid. That's one of the mistakes that I made early in my investment career, and one of the things that I teach. So I agree more with Dion now that, of course, the tenants pay the mortgage and they pay a lot of the bills for the house. But that's when you're properly set up as a business. But that's what every business is. This business is no different. Your customers, i.e. your tenants, pay your bills.
Yeah,
Dion.
I love that. Dion, so apparently you were triggered.
Well, I took a couple notes here because this is a longer video. It's not a short. In a short, I responded to this because let's go off of the sports analogy that you've come up with, Super, right? There's Matt on the field, the gridiron, going, here's how you self-manage over 100 units and do your rehabs and manage all those things. And then you're in the stadium with all of your millionaires saying, here's all of the possible paths to get on the field, to get that one rental at a time journey started. Yep. I'm in the parking lot with the people having the tailgate parties that have all of the options.
I don't want your job.
No. So, and I struggle with going along with Matt's theory of we're not in the convincing business, because it seems like the argument out here is I have to convince you that financial freedom is an option. Doesn't have to be real estate. It could be stocks, crypto, business, whatever you want, but pick a path possibly other than working more than 40 hours for more than 40 weeks, more than 40 years to retire on less than 40% of what you make. So that's me out here in the parking lot. And so my competition is guys like Dave Ramsey. And whenever I make a comment on a longer video, I have the time to go. If you don't make a lot of money and you struggle with saving and you have bad habits with credit cards, here's Dave Ramsey, the Total Money Makeover. You should read this book. You should watch this podcast. You should have this awesome information come in to help you fix your life. So there are guys like Brian Rogers who comments on a lot of our videos, and usually he's kind of in our side going, hey, this is some good information. Thank you for the video. But anytime I comment on Dave Ramsey, he comes at us with, that's petty. Why would you do this? And I want to talk about things specifically for guys like Brian going, Look, Dave Ramsey has great information for a very specific targeted group of people. But if you're an investor and Dave Ramsey says the bank can call your loan like they did on me when I was 26 and they took millions of dollars from me. Yeah, Dave Ramsey used 90-day revolving debt, but he never says that. He says the mortgage was called. That's not what actually happened. And then he'll say things like, and this is why my short in response was kind of a little more, full of vitriol, is because he says, if you think your tenants pay your mortgage, at best, you're a novice. At worst, you're an idiot. So he's calling landlords that could be watching his content idiots if they think that factually what is happening is the tenants pay the mortgage. But he actually kind of has a point where many landlords will ask this question in the Bigger Pockets forums or in the Facebook investing groups. How do I pay my mortgage if it's due on the 1st and the tenant doesn't pay the rent till the 5th? Like, that person is set up for failure because they think their tenant is actually paying their mortgage in real time, right? So we need to have a margin between rental income and expenses, not just the mortgage, but all expenses. We need to have a margin in the gap between the amount of reserves I need in an emergency and the amount of capital I need to run my business. Then we need to have that diversification of properties, diversification of tenant base. Like, there's all of these things that you can't put into a short. In the short, you can say, if all you hear is a clip from Dave Ramsey, where I've heard him say in a video, if you hear somebody use the term house hacking, it's a scam, run away. When it's literally why I never have to work again in my life. Yes, I get a little triggered that he says sound bites that get views that stop investors in their tracks and make people think retirement accounts, decades of employment, and a possible too old to enjoy retirement lifestyle is the goal. So that's what I'm combating out here in the parking lot, saying, if I can get you to think, just think that there's other options. Here's the stadium where Zuber has all of these people, 15 conversations with real estate millionaires, literally has a book from different perspectives on how people made work optional, using debt, because there is good debt, using mortgages because they're investing in real estate. That's my challenge.
Yeah. So it's funny, when you guys sent this around yesterday, I watched it a couple of times, and I was like, how can I look at this differently? And the word that, it's funny, the thing that triggered me is he said that landlords are idiots if they think tenants pay their rent. And I challenged myself to say, okay, he's right. Landlords are idiots. Well, you know what, Dave? People die in car accidents every day. Maybe we should stop driving. You know what? People choke on food. Maybe we should stop eating, right? If you want to talk about the 1 or 2, 3% of things that could go bad, and yes, 90-day debt in a environment where transactions slow down, you're going to lose your ass. Tell the full story. But taking 1 or 2 examples of folks that got in trouble because they didn't have the reserves or all of that, if that's really what you want to tell all landlords were idiots, then you know what? We should stop driving cars because we're all bad drivers and people die. We should stop eating food because people choke. We should stop drinking water because people drown. I mean, how stupid is this connection? Landlords provide a basic service: water, food, shelter. There's no pill for shelter. So I don't know what you're talking about. And then kind of something that Matt brought up, one of the things that, Dave Ramsey is, 2,000 units or whatever, they're debt free, right? So he's talking about not having a mortgage there, which obviously is not the way, most of us aren't selling books that sell millions of copies and
exactly. How'd you get
have
there?
a playlist of 30, 30, whatever it is. So I think it's, I haven't seen the full video. I've only seen the short. Obviously, I think he's wrong. But if he was right, then we should stop driving and eating because, you could die in a wreck or die choking or drowned or whatever. It's just crazy to think about. So all of us were triggered. Close us out, Matt. How people find you in closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing that I look at Dave Ramsey about too is that his real estate wasn't self-sustaining. It was because he was a New York Times bestselling author. It was because he has a podcast that gets millions of views and millions of listens. So at the end of the day, he didn't make his money from real estate and then build a real estate empire. He used all the money that he got out of all of you people paying him for his advice and his opinion to buy real estate.
Good
So
for him.
when he got money in, what did he do with it? He bought real estate. That's what he did. That's what Dave Ramsey did. He bought real estate. So all I would tell you is I like to do what people do, not what people say. Because a lot of times what they say doesn't align with what they do. Lumberjack Landlord, 11:30 a.m. Eastern times are my live stream every Sunday. We have a lot of fun, make a lot of noise, and occasionally use curse words. But that's just to get points across. So yeah, I look at that and it bothers me because what I post on my social media, Lumberjack Landlord on Instagram, that's real life. And you have bad days where you have people torch units or just tear, like that happens. That's life. But nothing worth doing is easy. And again, he's anti-real estate, but he took all the tens and hundreds of millions of dollars that people have paid him for his financial advice, and he bought real estate.
There you go. Dion, where can people find you in closing thoughts?
So closing thoughts, a couple of questions here, and this might blow up in my face because I haven't researched this at all. This is actually a stream of consciousness thought.
Uh-oh.
So you both have over 100 units right now. Let's take out the ones that are being rehabbed or that are vacant because of a turn. The actual ones that have tenants in place right now. Zuber. How many are non-paying?
I checked that already because so I check it on the 15th with my team. I think we have 3. One's on a payment plan. One is being paid by an agency, and the other is in evictions. So 3.
Okay, so you have 1 eviction going on, one's on a payment plan. So, and one's getting assistance. So you have 1 out of 180, and so that's 0.5% ish, a little less. Okay, and Matt, of your 137 last count, 2. Right, so
one going through eviction, 1 getting on a payment plan.
Okay, but payment plan. So you have 1.5%.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have 0. It's been 11 years since I've had a later missing rent payment. I had that first tenant. Since then, since I learned the math of time, and I'm going to be making that video soon, I haven't had any. So we'll say that the average rent payment for our portfolios is, say, 2. We'll raise it 2% or non-paying. What's the unemployment rate right now? 3.6, 3.8, 3.7.
Okay. Should be at least that, right?
So when Dave Ramsey says, if you think your tenants are going to pay your mortgage, I think you're an idiot. I say, if Dave Ramsey is telling me that your W-2, your sole source of income, is going to pay all of your bills, our percentage is half of what the unemployment rate is. And that was being generous.
Yeah.
The person I'm most concerned for is the person who thinks that having one single source of income, their W-2 job, and saving for retirement and planning on a 40-year plan is at the biggest risk. When you have layoffs in any industry, the career change when you're 25, sure. When you're 55, it's not as easy. And you can find me right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom, where I do my live streams 4 p.m. Pacific on Tuesdays, where today we're going to be looking at some Dave Ramsey videos.
That ought to be fun. Folks, check him out. We might show this video post before that, so you can check him out. It's 4 p.m. Pacific, right?
Yeah, Pacific.
Very cool, guys. Thank you so much. Again, like, subscribe, comment, become part of the first 50,000. We are almost there. Thanks, guys.